Yeah, it's crazy.
Like it.
That's what it's like, we go on cruise every Thanksgiving.
Now that on these goes away.
And we go on a cruise every year, and it's with 10 or 11 other couples that we're friends with. Yeah, yeah.
I've had more friends down there.
Yeah, I don't want to get it. You're not like, you're talking about Patty?
I do. I saw you not too long ago. Yeah.
Patty, I'm Barb.
Barb, I got my mind went blank when I saw you. I'm like, I know her. I worked with her for a while. I remember her name. Yeah, this is Patty. Patty's husband, Patty, a couple years ago. And her husband, Patty, JR, and I, and all together. We did a lot. A lot. Oh, yeah. How long has it been? 24.
That's a
Yeah, are you dating anyone? When you're saying this, extra party.
He's got the jokes around here.
Oh yeah, where did they move? Orlando, okay. Oh, wow.
I need to take care of it.
I remember my grandma saying when I was a little girl, I remember standing in her apartment after my grandma died. She was in the house in her apartment. And she called me Dawn Lynn, she was my middle name. And she said, Dawn Lynn, the older you get, the faster time flies. And I remember thinking, well, that's not I've never heard. You know? Yeah. That's not gonna happen. That doesn't make any sense. And I hear it more and more. That's an understatement now. You still have Lynn, the hairdresser? Joe, no. Carol? He was living with her. I was thinking about Lynn. Is Joe good? How do you say Right. He has health issues.
Yeah. You too.
Wow.
You better go so you can eat.
Well, it's nice seeing you.
Yeah, nice seeing you. Maybe next time I'm gonna be in town in January, and we might try to come down to Treasure Island. I'm leaving in the morning. Yeah. Yesterday. Yeah. I just came to another friend of mine, Cynthia, who I've been friends with. I met her whatever 40 years ago.
The Ritz, I haven't heard that crap.
Yeah. And I saw Bob Baker last night. Bob Baker at Theo's. Yeah. And anyway, her sister died too. My mom, the celebration lights was in Weaver Heights, and I just left there, came to pick Patty up, and I'm coming to this.
Nice seeing you.
I could see you are Sure. Yeah. Oh, and it's One, what's it say? He said, email to the thing on the side, and have that.
Yeah, behind the cabinets, right in the corner behind the cabinets. They destroyed all the cabinets.
You guys? You are there. I was hoping you guys would be here. You haven't spent much time with us. We need to try to do that.
Looks like quite a crew over here.
Just sit here, if anything happens to me, you have to take the plane. You decide which one.
It's kind of worked out.
Great job. It's so funny because we're friends on Facebook. So we got the report. First thing I checked.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start the service. Please find your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much today for coming out and attending the services of Debra Lawson to celebrate her life and share her memories. Before we get started today, would you please pull out your cell phones and make sure they are silenced. We would greatly appreciate that. I would now like to introduce Celebrant Brian Bennett, who will be officiating today's service.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And as Jennifer said, thank you so much for being here. I know it means a lot to the family to see such a great turnout. And I always love to come early so I can look at all the pictures that have been put together and kind of get a feel for the energy. And I will say you guys are a little rowdy for a funeral. But from what I remember about Debbie and from the story that I got to hear this week, she would love the energy that is in this room today. And the family really wanted to make sure that today we strike the balance because, whether you expect to lose someone or not, it's just hard, isn't it? Yeah, but the family wanted to make sure that we struck that balance between mourning a loss of somebody who lived their life really well, but also celebrating a life from someone who enjoyed her life so much. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do today. I had the unfortunate privilege to work with the family a little while back when Paul passed, and so I got to know her a little bit and know their story a little bit. And I'm a funeral celebrant. I have a normal day job like most of you. I'm a leadership consultant by profession, but I do this with the Route Song team because a few years ago I lost my mom to cancer. And doing what you're doing today by coming together and maybe seeing people that you don't get to see as much as you want to, and exchanging hugs and stories and laughter and food here in a little bit. It is such an enormous part of the healing process. So again, thank you so much for being here. I had the privilege to spend quite a bit of time talking to David and Trish, and my privilege is I get to sit back and hear the story about somebody that I didn't know or didn't know very well. And they did a phenomenal job of being able to paint a picture of her and her life and her personality to me. And I'm a big believer that every life is a story that deserves to be told. Because when we hear somebody else's story, we can be inspired by them. We can change perspective in our own story by them. And that's exactly our hope here today. Her Once Upon a Time started May 17th, 1955, 70 years old. And in that time, if you do the math, she would have lived through things like the civil rights movement and the moon landing and both Vietnam and Korea, the beginning of computers. When the first computer was invented, one computer would have taken up most of this whole room. And now we carry them around in our pockets and purses and call them phones. The internet beginning, 9/11, COVID-19, not to mention all of the personal pages and chapters of the story that she lived through. A very wise person once said, it's okay to miss her. It's okay to say her name every day if you need to. It's okay to talk to her every day if you need to. It's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to breathe deeply. It's okay to smile when you think of her. It's going to be okay to have days when you can function, and it's going to be okay to have days when you just don't feel like it. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be thankful. It's okay to remember. It's okay to hope. And the biggest thing is, it's okay to be honest about however it is you're feeling. Probably the biggest thing that I've learned about grief in the last decade is it's kind of messy. Because it affects everybody, even in the same family, very differently, because everybody had different relationships. And it would be fascinating to be able to look down on this room right now and see all the different relationships and all the different connections and all the different conversations and moments that everybody in this room has spent with Debbie. And those are where real memories, and that's where the healing is going to come from. I'm a big reader. And one of my favorite authors is a guy named Frederick Bachman. And I was reading one of his books the other night, and this paragraph kind of jumped off the page. So I got up and I typed it out because I thought it was so powerful. He said, over time, I've realized that deep down, almost everyone asks themselves the same sort of questions about life, especially as we get a little older. We start to ask ourselves, am I a good person? Do I make anyone proud? Am I useful to society? Was I good at my job? Am I considered generous and considerate? Does anyone want me to be their friend? Have I been a good parent? And ultimately, we ask ourselves the question, you know what, did my life even matter? And you guys are showing today, by showing up with such energy and such a great number, Debbie's life mattered, didn't it? And it sounds to me like she could go down that list and check yes, 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 and yes to every single one of those questions. If you were here for Paul's, you know that I like to talk about what I call holy collisions. And what I mean by that is there are certain times in our lives that we are lucky enough to run into the exact right person at the exact right time of our lives for the exact right reason that we were supposed to run into that person. You might be sitting next to one of your holy collisions right now. And you think back to that first moment you met. Where were you? And who saw the other one first? And who talked to the other one first? And what was it you saw in each other that has led to the significant relationship that it is today? Because if you think about it, you can get rid of everything we've ever owned or all of our accomplishments. And what life really boils down to, especially on a day like today, is relationships. And especially those significant holy collision relationships. Well, whenever I have the privilege to come alongside a family like this, I consider this group of people sitting in this room right now, we're our own version of a holy collision. Try to explain why this group of human beings would ever be at the same room at the same time. And let's be honest, when we parked our cars a few minutes ago, I would say many of us have things we're worrying about. We have decisions we're trying to make. There might be something going on in your life this afternoon that nobody else in this room is even aware of. And all that stuff's going to be waiting for us when we go back and get in our cars. So my hope and my prayer is very simple. I hope that by the time we go back to our busy lives, we're going to take some of her spirit with us. I pray that her story affects our story. And to me, that is the best way to celebrate someone's life. You know, in the last decade or so, we've kind of moved away from calling what we're doing here today a funeral. And we're hearing a lot more life celebration. And I love that shift because there's a lot to celebrate in her story. So before I go any further, if you're comfortable joining me, I'd like to invite you, if you would, to join me in a word of prayer, okay? God, I thank you for this holy collision of friends and family that have come together today to celebrate Debbie, her impact, her personality, her laughter. And God, I don't understand how you do it, but I have a personal belief that you can look down on a room like this and you know what's going on in the lives of every person in every chair in this room. And so I pray in the few minutes that we have that we might hear something or remember something or change our perspective on something or even feel something that we can immediately take from Debbie's story and put in place in our own. And by doing that, make sure that she lives way past her 70 years on this planet. It's in your name we pray these things. Amen. Well, I know from hearing their story a little while back that one of her main holy collisions was Paul. Neighbors and friends introduced them to each other at the Oakwood Club, and Paul was actually there on a date with someone else when they met. And apparently they did not get along too well at first, but they were persistent. They kept running into each other, which is exactly the opposite of getting along at first and finding out you didn't like each other later on. I guess that's the better way to go. But they had a great life together. And here in a couple of moments, the people that knew her best are going to get up and share with us. But before Trish and David come up to talk, we wanted to give any of you an opportunity. If you have a thought or a memory or something that you think of when you think of Debbie, you can do it right from where you're at if you would like to. We just like to take a moment in case anybody wanted to share something before Trish comes up. And this is usually that really awkward pause where nobody knows whether or not they want to.
And I know lots of you have stories.
There we go. We have our first pioneer. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. First of all, Debbie was my neighbor for probably 30 plus years. And you know, as they always say, you never know who you may be living next to. We shared a walkway, and it was the most beautiful walkway you would ever want to see. Debbie would put flowers out her area, and then one day she said, "Do you mind if I put flowers in your area?" I'm like, thank goodness. Because I know nothing about putting flowers out. And she did that all the time, every year. We had the most beautiful flowers, probably in our condo group. Nobody else's condo walkway looked like ours. And it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So again, she was my neighbor. I loved her dearly. 30-some years. We shared so much. She would come out and sit and we would talk. And one year when she went to visit Trish, she was during the time the flowers were out. And she said, "Do you think you could maybe kind of take care of them while I'll try. I took pictures of the flowers and everything. I have a son who lives in Baltimore. He's pretty good at that kind of stuff. And I sent him to him and I said, "What should I do?" He said, "Just water them." So when she came back, the flowers were still there. I truly miss her. She was just
Perfect, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Let me try to stand here. I just want to say, Debbie, you will never meet a more loyal person. Once you met Debbie and she was your friend, she was your friend's wife, and she never forgot your birthday. She never forgot just nothing days that she did something nice because she was Debbie. She would bring something to your house just for no reason. She always brought the biggest platters of everything at the parties. If you saw a big platter there, you knew that Debbie brought that. You never needed this or this, that for sure. But I just never met a person so loyal. Like I said, once you were friends with Debbie, that friendship never died, even if you didn't see her for years. So that's just what I remember the most about Debbie, and what I'll always remember about her.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lance Stewart. Just make sure that everybody knows that Debbie worked at the Oakland Club before the Pine Club. So I know Debbie and I go way back, but we go back because our parents go way back. So my father and mother started the Oakland Club, and guess who my father's first chef was? Debbie's dad, Bill Lawson. Wow. And I was a little kid, like somebody said there was a photo of Debbie at the Oakland Club when she was little. But I would hang around, got to know Bill a little, and he was just, as a little kid, he just struck me as, wow, he's a cool guy. And then lo and behold, Debbie and I didn't have any interaction there that I remember, but lo and behold, we each both ended up at the Oakland Club to start our life's work. And it's funny, my dad started me at behind the bar, and Debbie was also behind the bar, so we worked a whole year together behind the bar. And it was our first year out into the world trying to make money and figure out why we're trying to make it there, And I remember there was a liquor chute at the very end of the bar where all the empty bottles would go. But Debbie and I would take the empty bottles and mark off about 30 feet away from the hole, and then we'd bowl. So, a couple people said Debbie just was one of the most loyal people I've ever met. And she never forgot that relationship we had as family. So, rest in peace.
Well, to keep it on the restaurant theme, and she did come to the Pine. I worked with her for years, and yeah, the loyal for sure. And when I started, I was very young, And a lot of the ladies were older and they weren't very nice. And Debbie took me under her wing, just like, here we go, because I was nervous and whatever. I remember too, as a server, there's her and one other person that I worked with my whole life that she was the best server. She knew every customer that walked in that door. I'd have to keep looking at their card. What's her name again? And people would come in asking for her, but she was amazing at that. But and I got to be really good friends. Maybe some of you know her, Joyce Marketanti. We became best friends, and Debbie and I and Joyce. And Joyce went through a lot of health issues before she died for 4 or 5 years, and Debbie was at that hospital every day. Same thing, the biggest flowers, the biggest things, when you're at a party. But I felt bad with Joyce because Debbie was at the hospital more than me, and I was like, but we didn't stay in touch as much afterward, and she went back and forth, to Florida. And I know, everything going on with Paul and everything. And a good friend over here told me that she said she came to me right before Debbie was really sick. And I said, I didn't know. And she said, Debbie didn't want people to know. And I said, that's Debbie. She went out of her way to take care of all her sick friends. But she had, I don't want to say it's a stubborn pride, maybe it was, but this friend, I won't say your name, but she said, no, I had to be under secrecy, and I didn't find out till later, so then I'm feeling guilty, like I would have been there, but I can't, I'm sure I'm not being the person, but Debbie didn't want people to know. She wanted to be the one to take care of everybody else, but anyway, she's a great friend, loyal, and yeah, Rock, I miss her very much.
What a great tribute. Chris?
Thank you all for coming and for those stories, because I love, the one thing I've gotten out of all of this the last 6 weeks or whatever is the other sides of her life that I didn't get a chance to see a lot of. And my story about Debbie will be somewhat from a distance because I moved to Seattle in 1990, which was not too long after they started. My dad and her got together, but I've been back and forth a lot, and especially over the last few years. So, and I'm going to read because I really don't love to speak in front of a bunch of people. Debbie came into my life when I was a young adult at a time when I had a young child and was going through a really difficult season. I remember one traumatic moment so vividly when I was completely overwhelmed, and Debbie and my dad just hugged me and they helped me through it. That was my early experience with getting to know her, and was the kind of comforting presence that she was, warm, supportive, and always there in the way that you needed most. Like you were talking, right? She's always looking, what do you need? She's always out for the other person. My dad and Debbie became close, and they had a lot in common. They enjoyed many of the same things and had common friends and places they liked to hang out together. They also shared some great times and adventures, namely their time in St. Pete Beach, where they eventually bought a home. They had been together for so long and loved each other dearly. Debbie became a huge part of our family, and we all loved her so much. Later in my life, I was able to visit them on my own in St. Pete, at their St. Pete home, where I had some special or precious moments. Those times felt like a gift. It was just the three of us, and it felt kind of like being a kid again. It was really kind of weird. But I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I got special time with both of them. Debbie and I had our own little adventures during those times, like shopping, beach days, and long talks. I cherished every one of those moments. I'll never forget one time when we got stuck on top of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge while she was taking me to see Anna Marie Island. I remember telling her I did not love bridges or heights, and I was not excited to go over that bridge at all. For some reason, I decided to drive. I don't know why I was driving, but what happened is, what are the odds? But there was an accident on the other side of the bridge, and so we got stuck on top of that bridge for 45 minutes. Like literally on the top. I was like, why is this happening to me right now? But Debbie was calm, and she just kept talking to me, and eventually got me out of the car, and she took a picture of me out there on the top with my She just had a way of turning stressful moments into ones filled with grace. That day was one of my favorite memories with her. Another sweet personal thing that meant a lot, and I'll never forget, is how after my dad passed away, she started calling me Trishy, which is what he used to call me. It meant the world to me and became a special little bond between the two of us. She really loved us kids and also had such a love for her 14 grandkids and 7 great grandkids, even though many were far away. She adored seeing them when she had the chance, and also had some favorite photos that she cherished and would bring up periodically. Debbie also had a servant's heart in every part of her life. She spent years as a server in local high-end restaurants, and that sense of care and attentiveness showed up in how she treated everyone, family, friends, and even strangers. And let me just take a moment to talk about something that everyone I've heard talk about in the last few weeks. Debbie had such an impeccable style. She always dressed so well, always put together and with beautiful nails, jewelry as well. Her nails were even talked about up until the last few days before she passed. She had a flair for elegance, and I've heard many people comment on that so much over the last few weeks. It was just one of those many ways that she expressed who she was, thoughtful, intentional, and full of grace. These last few weeks were so challenging, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about many people who had helped to care for Debbie during her last few weeks. I know her journey lasted longer than that, but my eyes were truly opened in those final days to just how many people loved her dearly. The outpouring of love and presence was humbling, and Debbie was surrounded by friends and family who didn't just show up, but poured themselves into her, helping her. Their devotion and affection spoke volumes about the kind of soul Debbie was to them. It was a gift to witness. I want to especially mention the Savakis sisters, who were there every single day, bringing her meals, cleaning her room, feeding her when she could no longer do so for herself. Their partnership ensured that she was never alone, and it was clear she was part of their family too. Marianne also deserves mention, as I heard her call Debbie and ask her what kind of meal she wanted from the restaurant. She even went so far as to host our family at the restaurant one evening for dinner, a gesture that meant so much to us during that time. Her consistent presence and generosity were beautiful testaments to the love she had for Debbie. Debbie had a special relationship with her cousins as well, and I feel so blessed to have learned more about their shared memories, their laughter, and their bond. Many of them came to visit and take care of her. Robin even came back to town with short notice to take care of her overnight. She insisted on it. She was even there with her when she took her last breath. I know that was so hard, and I'm especially grateful that she was there, as I believe Debbie would have known and had peace. In those final days, there were many sweet and hard moments, but one of the most humbling and sacred moments that I was honored to share was when Debbie expressed her desire to formally accept Jesus as her Savior. I was able to pray that prayer with her, and I will forever carry the blessing of that moment in my heart. Debbie brought beauty, love, comfort, and strength into the lives of so many. Her presence will be deeply missed, but her impact will remain woven into the fabric of our lives in the most loving and lasting ways. Thank you.
I too am going to read from something, but I feel like a lot of you here, from what I've heard already, helped me write this, and might make a few minor changes along the way, but I agree with Brian in the Holy Collision. It's a lot of people sometimes think they don't like to come to these things, but the celebration of life is truly that, and it's really kind of a reunion almost. So it's really good to see a lot of people I haven't seen for a long time. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I may ad-lib here a little bit, but I feel like a lot of you wrote this with me. But this is how I see Debbie, and a lot of probably what you all also feel about Debbie and who she was as a person. So we're gathered here today to celebrate her life. Debra Elaine Lawson, known to most of us as Debbie. daughter of William and Lois Lawson, wife of my father Paul, and a woman whose kindness and heart touched everyone fortunate enough to know her. I didn't know much about Debbie's early years, but I came to learn that she seemed to have a passion for fashion. As she found herself drawn to the world of retail and style, a natural fit really, because Debbie had that effortless sense of the latest trends. Whether she was shopping the perfect outfit or simply walking into a room, she always had a way of carrying herself with grace, confidence, and a sparkle of flair. And of course, she loved jewelry. Over the years, Debbie worked in a few different fields, from retail to mortgage banking and more. But it was her time as a server at some of Dayton's most iconic restaurants, like the Oakwood Club. And I have the word "and," but I'm going to change it to then, the Pine Club. So that truly captured her calling. Debbie loved people. She loved connecting, listening, and making others feel special. Serving wasn't just a job for her, it was who she was. She served others with heart, making sure everyone around her was cared for, whether it was a customer, a friend, or family. That spirit of care is what first struck me when I first met her shortly before my 21st birthday. My dad had been single for a while, and when he met Debbie, it was clear right away that was something was different. She was warm, genuine, and could tell she really had a thing for him. For me, I could tell what a good person she was right away. One story I'll never forget was when I was getting ready for my first big career interview for a professional sales position. Still new to me, Debbie asked if she could take me shopping to make sure I looked the part. Okay. So we spent the day shopping, went downtown, I think Lazarus, if I remember right, or Shillito's maybe. I'm not sure, it was a while ago. So picking out dress pants, shirts, shoes, jackets, the whole 9 yards. She treated me like I was her own son, making sure I felt confident and helped me believe in myself. And wouldn't you know it, I got the job. That was Debbie. She had a way of lifting people up, making sure they looked good, felt good, and were ready to take on the world. So as time went on, she and my father grew closer in their relationship, and she became a true part of the Schaefer family, close to me, my siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents. As our families grew, she was thought of dearly as a grandmother to our children, who loved her just as much as we did. When our daughter Courtney was first born, Kim and I both worked and were both hesitant to put her in daycare as a newborn infant. So Debbie offered to care for her for probably the first 6 to 9 months until we felt more comfortable about it. She and Courtney formed a special bond because of that time they spent together. Again, another act of kindness and caring trait that came natural to her. Debbie and my father shared a long, loving relationship, one full of laughter, companionship, and mutual care. After many years together, they officially married on December 10th, 2014, and remained devoted to each other until my father's passing in January of 2020. His loss was incredibly hard for her, but through it all, she showed strength and grace, continuing to stay connected with us as a family, as she always had been. Debbie was so many things: stylish, strong, compassionate, loyal, and loving. She made the world brighter simply by being there. She loved it deeply, gave generously, and lived authentically. And though we'll miss her voice, her laughter, and her presence at family gatherings, her legacy will live on in all the ways she touched our lives. Today, we remember Debbie Lawson for her warmth, her laughter, and the way she made everyone feel seen, valued, and cared for. May we honor her by carrying that same love forward, by taking care of one another just as she always did. Rest in peace, Debbie. You'll always be loved, and you'll never be forgotten.
What an amazing collection of all the friends who spoke, and it's just amazing because this is so much echoes the conversation that we had. And because I get to do this a lot, I come up with families that are blended a lot. And I think the most touching thing is this may be the best definition of blended that I've ever heard about, because it was so important that you guys made today happen. And so for all of you who spoke, thank you. And I would encourage you, when we open the doors, if you get to stay for food, continue to tell more Debbie stories. You know, I got to hear her story, and as I listened to all of you a few minutes ago, the two things that I hear the most are personality and relationships. Personality and relationships. I came early to see all the pictures, and the thing that I loved, she was so present in every single picture. You could tell that that was the only thing that mattered to her at that moment, was being in that place with that person at that time. You know, I'm 61, and one of our cultural icons when I was a kid was Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. He would invite us into his neighborhood all the time, and listen to this description of the man, because what I didn't realize is what a genius Fred Rogers was. One person described him as a philosopher in a cardigan. And listen to this description and then compare it to what you just heard about Debbie. His whole life was a masterclass in presence and kindness and what it means to truly see people. He lived the kind of quiet legacy that sneaks up on your soul. You know, after the events of 9/11, when all of us were scared and shaken, the president at the time asked one person to address the nation, and that was Mr. Rogers. And you can still go on YouTube and watch that speech. And those same gentle eyes looked into the eyes of a scared nation. This is part of what he said. We are all called to be tikkun olam. And that's a phrase from ancient Judaism that means repairers. Repairers of people and repairers of creation. He said, no matter what your job is, especially in our world today, we are called to be repairers, to bring joy and light and love to this broken world. And as I was preparing today for Debbie, I thought, that's exactly who Debbie was. And you guys just echoed that in the words that we just heard. She was a repairer. She was a lifter. She was a builder. She was a listener to everybody that was around her. She was a safe place. You know, I got to hear the story that Trish just shared about her belief that there is another life after this one. And I share that belief. And it is everything in me that believes that she's getting to enjoy that life right now. And I'm telling you, after the little bit that I knew and what I've been able to learn, if someone like Debbie isn't in this place called heaven, the rest of us are in a lot of trouble. And if you share that belief at any level today, then the beautiful thing is you don't have to say goodbye. You can simply say, and mean it, we'll see you later. That phrase is carved on the bottom of my mom's tombstone because I hang on to it, because I believe there is a place where there is no cancer. There's no COVID, and there's no war in the Middle East, and there's none of the crap that we have to deal with here on this side. And there's a place where she got to be reunited with Paul and everybody else that she has had to say goodbye to. And I have a feeling she's up there making everybody around her happy. So as I close my time with you today, I want to share a reading, because the one thing that all of us have that unfortunately she does not have is time. And let's be honest, most of us in this room, we have people watching how we do it. We have people watching how we handle good times and hard times. And there will be a day when a crowd gathers for us like this. And so that's what this reading's about. It's the lyrics of a spoken word by a group called Fearless Soul. And here's what it says. What if I were to die today? If I die today, would I be proud of the life that I've lived? If I die tomorrow, was I happy? Would I be proud of the person that I've become? Has there been love in my life? Have I given enough love? Have I shown those I love the real me? Could I have done things differently or better? What will I leave behind? Will anyone on earth be better because I was there? Because the truth is, not one of us in this room right now knows for sure we're going to wake up tomorrow. We did not walk into this room with that guarantee. So, if you don't like who you've been up to this moment, make a change and make it today in Debbie's honor. If you have a broken relationship with somebody you really care about, what if you tried to mend it today? Not be worried about whether or not they respond, but that you did the right thing. If you can give more love, give it today. If you can play more and work less, decide and commit to do that now. If you can do anything to improve the quality of your life, write it down. Everything that can't wait for tomorrow. You need to make a phone call to somebody. What if you made it today? If you need to apologize, say you're sorry. You need to give somebody a hug, hug them. What if we decided to stop caring so much about what other people think that we got up every single day, as Debbie did, and just tried to be the very best version of ourselves? When we're our true self, when we're present in every moment. So get excited about your life. Love your life while you're still living it, because our new life starts right now. So thank you for allowing me to be part of your holy collision today. Thank you for all of you that shared, and I pray that you can continue to do that. We're going to close with a song, and that song is called Fields of Gold. And as we do that, the family's going to be dismissed. There's an area right over here that's got some incredible food, so stay if you need to. Buckeye game doesn't start till 7:30. You got time. So stay if you need to. These doors are going to be open, so after the song starts, the team's going to start dismissing you from the back forward. So if you can stay, please do that. Again, thank you on behalf of the family for being here today. I'd like to close my time with prayer, and then we'll be dismissed. Okay, let's pray. God, I thank you for such a powerful celebration of a life well lived. It's so easy to focus on the hard things that we're facing, and just being able to hear how Debbie lived her life is truly an inspiration. So I pray that the words that we heard today and the feelings that we feel will not walk away from us when we go back to our own busy lives. So God, thank you for this time. Thank you for Debbie and exactly the way you made her and the holy collision that she has been to so many people. In your name we pray these things. Amen.
Let's stop.
Yeah. On the golf course, we'll go see a Buckeye game.
We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll enjoy your.
Absolutely.
I'll set it in different ways too.
So what?